Right, so Marlon, thanks for joining us on Erith&BelvedereFCVideo. That was a good win for you today.
Yeah.
Could you give us a summary of the season so far for the academy?
Yeah, well, the season so far we've done really well up to this point. We've gone a bit slippery recently, where we've probably given games away. Last two games, last one was against Erith Town, took a 2-1 lead, and then threw it away, ended up losing 4-2. And then the week before we played Cray Wanderers. Again, we was 2-1 up, ended up chucking it away, losing 3-2. If I'm honest, they're bad refereeing decisions, but you got to deal with them. You got to get on with them. I've tried to sort of put into the players, it's not about moaning at the referee, it's about getting on with your game. And today showed that, really. We both obviously took the lead 1-0. They come back to 1-1. Then Cray scored again to make 2-1 with about 7 minutes to go, I think it was. And the boys showed some real fight. Toby Waller, unbelievable today, making some worldy saves, like match saves basically. I thought he's phenomenal today, and he's one player that obviously I would like to see have a few first team appearances. But yeah, we nicked the 3-2 today. Cray would probably walk away from today thinking they're a bit hard done by. But that's football, I suppose. When I look at the last two games, they were 6 points ready for us, and we chucked them away. So today was a big 3-pointer. We're obviously in second place now in the league, chasing Erith Town. So Erith Town have got games in hand, but if they're playing teams like Cray Wanderers and them teams, they could slip up. So we've got to hope for that. But overall, I think up to this point of the season, especially in the FA Cup, I mean the FA Cup performances were sound. There is some really good, and considering the majority of my squad are the first years, we've done phenomenal. I think if I look at I'd say a top 3 finish, and obviously we had the great FA Cup run, I'm pretty happy with that, especially considering coming into the club. Last season I think the under-16s finished bottom of the league. So I've come in, I've had to put a new team together with some new players, obviously a couple that I've carried over, but to be in second place at this stage of the season, it's great for the club.
What were your goals at the start of the season for the academy?
Obviously I came in, obviously speaking to Paul, I had a conversation with Paul about aspirations for the boys, saying how good obviously some of the boys were. And coming in and having the opportunity to play first team football, that's the goal. At the end of the day, win, draw, lose, I can lose a game, but it's all about getting that progression at the end of the day. And as I say, with the top 3 finish, that's what I'm looking for. But the main thing is really that a lot of these boys, I think there's 4 or 5 in the squad that need that opportunity to play in the first team, and hopefully that will happen. I'm hoping that the first team wrap the league up nice and early, and obviously AC can give some of the boys a run out.
Yeah, could you sort of give us a bit more detail on the pathway progression of these players?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pathway, what I'm looking at, I'm obviously running the under-18s this season. I've already been asked to do the under-23s. So with their progression and the pathway, I see under-18s coming into next season nice and strong. As I said, a lot of the boys are first years, so yeah, I'll lose a couple second years because they go to university and things like that, which is obviously their pathway on that. But in terms of a football pathway, we'll be back in the FA Cup again, the FA Youth Cup, so again it'd be nice to have another nice run, add to the players that we've got, some new faces, and then obviously under 23s, pick those up. And it'd be nice, obviously, linking up with AC as well, moving those players forward into the first team, because that's the bottom line. A lot of these boys, they're crying to have that opportunity to play in the first team, And yeah, all right, the first team at the minute, top of the league, doing really well. All right, they've had a few blips lately, but hopefully they go smash the league. And then it gets to the point where they pick 3 or 4 of these boys up that will be regulars in the first team, because that's what it's all about. These boys need that aspiration to play in the first team, and have them opportunities. And to be honest, I think there is 4 or 5 players that capable of doing that. They just need that opportunity.
We wanted to ask you, I mean, how proud were you when you saw that, for example, against Thamesmead in the Skeffel Challenge Cup, that 4 or 5 of the academy boys got into the first team, and they got some minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. You know, and that's what it's all about. You know, it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes, it's 30 minutes. But you know, there's 3 boys that night that obviously when they played sport in Thamesmead, you know, the result didn't go in our favour, but it should have done. But yeah, I think they've done proud. I mean, you had Bradley Russell came in at right back. He was solid. I feel sorry for him at the minute because he's having so many injuries and he's picked up so many knocks. So he's not himself at the minute. He's getting that match fitness back, but he done himself proud when he played against Sport in Thamesmead. I mean, AC said to me that he's a phenomenal player. So you know, he done himself proud. And then obviously Rashid, he
scored
as well.
That
he
night
scored
as well.
in the game. He got the first goal. So again, he's a player that's got, you know, ample ability. But again, we'd learn a lot from being around the first team. And then obviously you've got George that came on as a centre forward, or on the right hand side to start with. Then they moved him inside. And again, it's just little things of development, you know. So I said to George, because obviously George being my son, he gets it hard. You know, I tell him, you know, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and you need to be stronger. So from that game, I mean, I think the first challenge he had in that game, it was like an elbow to the face, like welcome to the first team football, you know. But since then, you know, I've said to him, you know, you've got to bulk up, you've got to get stronger, and that's part of it. I mean, he's been working hard on that. You know, gym every day, and it's the same with the other boys.
They'll have learnt so much from that as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah. And that's what football's about. It's a learning experience. You know, and if you don't give kids that learning experience, how are they going to get to the next level?
How do you balance as well, sort of them enjoying football, you know, being youngsters enjoying football with also, you know, hitting their potential? Yeah,
I mean, it's an hard one because, you know, you have to be critical. You have to tell them, you know, where they've gone wrong, but at the same time, they've got emotions, you know. So if you're too hard on them, then it can ruin their confidence, you know. So to get the balance, I mean, as a manager, I with my players, you know, I tell them exactly how it is. You know, if they've had a bad game, I'll let them know it's a bad game. But I will also say to them, right, next time, this is what you need to do. So like today, there was a player played at the back, Freddie and Bailey. And a couple of times they got caught the wrong side of the player. Again, it's just having that conversation with them. You know, you should be goal side of the player. You know, don't let them spin you because then you're spinning. And also, I have them that they're hunting packs as well, so they're working for each other all the way through. You know, so we've got that. Today, I see that. Yeah, at recent games, I think we've lost a little bit of that fight and desire, but today we definitely showed it. The fight was, you know, what I wanted. You know, 2 minutes, as I say, 2-1 down. 7 minutes to go, to bring the game back and win the game 3-2 was fantastic, you know.
Certainly an exciting end, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant. But we've had a lot of games like that this season. That's the beauty of the under-18s, really, is, you know, there's not many bad games. You don't play many weak teams. There's strong teams in this league. And, you know, if you have games like that every week, you know, if we lost today, you know, you'd held your hands up and said, you know, it's unlucky. 2 good teams playing against each other. Now we need to move on. We need to do this, you know. So at the moment, I'm saying to the boys, you know, just enjoy it. You know, enjoy every minute. I mean, we're going in a few weeks' time. We're going to Holland. We've got a tour to Holland, so you know, there's a bit of bonding there. You know, and it's great. It's a fantastic experience to go to Holland, playing the tournament out there against some other teams. And they're all buzzing for that.
What teams will you be playing?
Well, you know, we play a lot of Dutch teams. Sometimes you might get an Ajax out there, so we're hoping we might get an Ajax. FC Groningen sometimes go to the tournaments, and then obviously you get other international areas as well. You know, I've been to a tournament before. We get, you know, there was a team from Scotland that represented Celtic and Rangers. So there's some really strong teams out there, and what they do in Holland is they put you into categories, so you can have a poor standard of football, medium level of football, high level. So I put them into the high level because, you know, at the end of the day, if we go there and we don't win a competition, it makes no odds. But they've got that experience playing against them, you know, because that's the stamp, isn't it? That's the standard. You know, I want all them boys to have the opportunities to play professional football. You know, but now they know they're at that stage now that they know they've got to get to good standard semi-professional football, and then someone might be watching where they go, like this kid.
Yep.
Right? And it's all about thinking football as well, you know, doing the right things. You know, if you make a mistake, head up, carry on, make it better next time. You know, and that's my hope for these boys, that, you know, they get them opportunities, and as I say, you know, some of them have been at professional clubs. Some of those players out there have done the circuit of being with pro clubs and been released, or it hasn't worked out, you know. So, and it's generally the players, you know, you've got the Toby, you've got the George, you've got Brad and Rashid, they've all been with pro clubs. They've had them opportunities, but unfortunately for some reason it hasn't worked out. But I always say to them, boys, you keep going, you keep going. You never know what will happen, you know. So, you know, if you get one out of them five that makes it in the next level, pro, whether it's semi-professional football, you know, I would hope 4, 5, 6 of them get to that semi-professional. And as a club, Erith&Belvedere, you know, you'd expect from the top, you know, to be looking down and thinking, yeah, this group of boys, they're special. And they are a special group of boys. They're very talented footballers. And, you know, looking from up there downwards, you'd think this is the future. You know, this is the future of the club. You know, the club, as you said, it's doing fantastic. You know, all the teams, you know, throughout the club, come grassroots to the first team. It's all going really well. And that's what you want to see from a club. You know, the club must be buzzing at the minute.
Yeah, a healthy, happy-looking club, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that trickles through the entire club.
Yeah,
often
that's right. And it's a buzz. You know, when you're up there and the first team are doing well and the youngsters are all doing well, it's a buzz. You know, it gets the buzz of the club. And obviously to take through the boys into the first team, even better.
Yeah, brilliant. So what's your hopes then for the rest of this season for the academy?
Right, so my hopes are that I think we've got 6 games left now. So I've said to the boys, let's take each game as it comes. Like we took today, we've got 3 points on the board. 6 to go. I take one game at a time. I want to get 3. You know, no pressure on them at all. You know, ideally, let's see if we can get 15 points. I'd say 15 points, that'll put us up there. That'll put the pressure on Erith Town. You know, we've just got to hope now that Erith Town slip up, which is possible in this league, because it seems to me that everyone's beating each other, and it's just about getting that form, hitting that form. And as I said, I've said to them now, the pressure's off, because the other week we were top of the table, we had the points in the bag, and it was the other teams chasing us. Right? As you know, with the first team, they've got the points in the bag, and the others are chasing the pack. That's the hardest thing to do. But obviously you need to keep getting in points on the system and keep driving forward. So for me, as this team, you know, I want them to just aim for those 15 points, okay, to keep putting in points on the system. Keep going till it's to the end. You've played all your games, and then we know. But yeah, as I said at the start, top 3 finish, I'll be happy with. You know, because as I said, coming here from Belvedere from last season, being bottom of the table, to being in the top 3. That, I think that's a massive achievement.
Certain development as well, isn't it?
100%. A development, you can see, you know, the boys, as I said, the FA Cup run, you know, whoever was there, we had a big crowd watching that game against Welling. Yeah, they beat us, but they did have a lot of second years. So, you know, you have that as a learning experience. And after that FA Cup, we were buzzing. The boys were absolutely buzzing. In actual fact, that run probably put us downhill a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because we went on. Since then, there's been a few games in the season where we've been phenomenal. The FA Cup runs, you know, we played some, you know, played Sitting Bull, Whitstable, big clubs that have got good structures within their club, and they turned up and they was expecting to roll us over, and we played superb and we beat both of them.
Yeah.
And then obviously Welling was probably that game a little bit too much, where they were a very good side. And you know, we started off slow, conceded an early goal, and it was after that it was just fighting. But it's a learning experience for them.
This is it. I mean, you only get better as well by playing teams often who are better than you as well.
You want to be playing the best teams.
Yeah, you learn from a defeat as well.
Exactly, and that's the point I try to make to people. You know, and I say to the boys, as long as you go out there, you give it 110%. Win, lose, draw. You know, you've done yourself praise, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you know. It's exciting, it's a buzz, and as I said, we're going to Holland, come the end of the season, you know, I'd hope really that, as I said, the first team wrap it up with about 4 or 5 games to go, then AC and the boys just go, right, let's have 4 or 5 of these boys, playing in the first team. As I said, Toby had an absolutely phenomenal performance today. Give him a chance. Give him a half of football. Give him some minutes, even if it's 30 minutes. You know, or give him one half of the first half of a couple of games. You know, the other boys, chuck him in there. Give him either the first half or the second half. You know, give them time, because they're in pressure, and they're only going to get better if they get given them opportunities. If you don't give them the opportunities, then they're wasting their time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what it's all about. Their inspiration at the minute, as I said, is all about getting in that first team, getting the opportunities.
Motivating as well, isn't it?
Yes, and that's what I say to them all the time. So I'm hoping, and it does seem, you know, with Paul, AC, you know, that, you know, I spoke to AC, I played with AC at Whitstable, so, you know, we're quite close, and, you know, he's doing a great job. Under 18s, I think I'm doing a great job. But, you know, it's bringing that all together as a club. You know, having this conversation, how can we go forwards with things? You know, how can we make this club even more of a great club? You know, and that's what it's about, really.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Marlon. We'll end it there, and we'll keep an eye on your progress through the rest of the season.
Excellent. Thank
Cheers.
you very much. Cheers.